This is FinalPress, an easy to use coffee maker. It's small, you don't need paper filter to brew with it, but is it good? Oh, no, tastes very dusty. It's not a positive coffee, it's not a positive brewer. Okay, this is definitely not an happy ending review. Hi everyone, Matteo here. In this video we will have a look at FinalPress. I backed this product a few months ago on Kickstarter and I think it's time for me to show you how it works and also what we can achieve with this. The product is made of stainless steel, but it's quite light. It weighs around 100 grams and it's made of two parts. We have the coffee container and also the filter and the piston. The coffee filter they also function as a container, as a mesh of 200 microns, and it can fit around 12-14 grams of coffee depending on the roasting level of the coffee that you're using. And the piston instead is it's a bit heavier than the filter, and you have this system of basically pressing, and then we will see why and how it works. And you can lock it by screw it so that it's smaller for when you are going to travel with it. Talking about traveling, let's see in the box what we have. You have a kind of like silicone cup for the brewer. We have kind of a sleeve where we can put it inside for when we carry it, and the brewer doesn't fit. Well, that's not a happy news. Maybe we can fit it without. Okay, that's kind of like, okay, this is not very handy, I think. But that's the sleeve they provide. FinalPress. Yeah, it's very tight. Maybe it gets loose once you start to use it more. We have inside the box just a paper with the instruction, and we will see later when we're going to make a coffee in a few seconds. We have this cup, this lid to make cold brew, but there is only the lid and with a hole. And then we have a couple of springs for replacement. The box is kind of like normal box. There is no design, no branding. Everything came in a normal brown box. So if you are a fanatic of unboxing, I think it's not very attractive. To be honest, my first impression with FinalPress is that it doesn't look like a premium product. It feels a bit cheap, to be honest. But for me, the most important thing is the kind of coffee, the quality of coffee that we can achieve with it. So let's do it. I will follow the instruction that I found in the box. So let's see with their suggestion, the FinalPress way, what we can achieve. Okay, the first step is to put 2-3 teaspoons of coffee or tea, but we're gonna make coffee. Inside, I already pre-ground some coffee. Here it says recommended grind size fine to medium. So what I did is just like ground some coffee for mocha pot. That is basically fine enough. I will use teaspoons, so I won't use any scale. Okay, one, that's a second, and that's the third. With 3 spoons as suggested, I feel kind of like half of it, and add hot water, slowly add hot water into the cup. I will use a glass, so we have more visual, and I think it's better even for you to understand. Quantity, here shows a mug, probably around 300 ml, I suppose. Okay, let's start with brewing. Perfect. Now slowly stir it around 10 times. Okay, so I'm gonna start to stir. One, two. And let it sip for a minute. Okay, I start the timer, and now we wait for 1 minute. And then stir 10 more times for a strong cup of coffee. So let's stir another 10 times. Even 20 is fine. All right, we want stronger, right? And then press the plunger for a few times to maximize the release of rich flavor. Let's maximize the flavor. Okay, I think we maximize the flavor. What we achieve is coffee. It's brown, it's very turbid. One thing that I can see that I really like is there are a bit of fines. I place coffee that I ground usually for mocha pot, so it's a bit fine. Here suggested medium to fine. Maybe I went too fine, but also on the paper is written here, consider choosing a dark roast with finer grinds. And that's actually what I did. I really choose a darker roast coffee and finer grinds. That's what I did. So for mocha pots. If I ground even finer, we're gonna have like all coffee outside, basically. Now, let's taste it. That's why we're making this video, to taste the coffee. Yeah, it smells very dirty. Yeah, oh. No, okay, the coffee is very weak. Okay, it looks like very intense dark, but actually it tastes very weak. Flavor-wise, I can say that it tastes a bit under-extracted, also like for being a dark roast coffee, so I don't get a lot of sweetness. It tastes very watery. Now, what I want to do is filter the coffee on a paper filter. Let's see the amount of fine particles that we have inside this liquid, okay? The color looks a bit light, but the thing that I really don't like is what I see inside this filter. I think it's enough liquid for me. Just put it on the side. Let's continue to drip for a bit, and then I will show you better the inside of the paper filter. Let's say now we have a cleaner coffee, okay? And I am very curious to taste this. Okay, we remove a bit of the smell of dirtiness that I found before because we remove the fines. Okay. Yeah. Taste under extracted. Yeah, it tastes a bit like grains, and that is it's a sign of under extraction when it tastes a bit like cereal, wheat. Now what I want to do is to go even deeper into the science and check the total dissolved solutes that we have in the cup. So I got myself a refractometer. Okay, place a couple of drops here, and this is not good. 0.65% TDS. For an optimal cup in terms of strength, it should be around between 1.3 and 1.4. If you like even stronger, 1.5. 0.65 is really weak. So what I will do for the next brew is increase the dose. So increase the dose, go a bit coarser, and leave it for longer. Okay, these are 3 variables at the same time. That's something that I never suggest. If you ever watched one of my videos on my channel, you know that I always suggest to change one variable at a time. But in this case, we have an extreme problem of extraction, so we have to change 3 variables. Now, while I was speaking, coffee finally finished to drain, so I want to show you the amount of fines we have in the cup. So this is the amount of fines that we had inside the cup after the first brew. Of course, like with this brew, it is not required to filter with a paper filter, so you will go to drink the coffee, and that's also what you're going to ingest. Not very positive. This is, I think, one of the worst cup of coffee that I ever made in my life. But let's think positive. Let's clean everything up, and let's remake the second brew where we're going to change a bit of variables. All right? Come back in 1 second. Okay, I'm back, cleaned everything, and it's time to make the second coffee with FinalPress. The first one was not successful, let's say. I'm using the same coffee, so let's not change the coffee. I ground the coffee a bit coarser, just slightly coarser, to see if we can reduce the amount of fines that we find in our cup. I'm not following the suggestion of 2-3 teaspoons, but I'm going to fill it more. I'm not gonna make it full, I'm just filling a bit more. Probably this should be enough. Once we're here, we close it. Let's do the same steps. So I'm going to put the water gently, and then I'm going to stir 10 times, even something more this time. And then I let it steep for 4 minutes. Let's pour the water. Now, let's stir it. I think it's enough. And then let's start the timer. 4 minutes. Something happening that it wasn't happening before. There is a lot of air coming out from the brewer. Probably it's like the water going inside. Hopefully it's going to be a better brew. Okay, 4 minutes done. Stir for another 10 times, like they suggest, maybe even more. And now we plunge for rich flavor. Okay, as soon as we start to press the coffee, the colors get darker. Okay, I wasn't expecting this, and while I was plunging for richer flavor, the plunger just, I think, unscrewed. Aroma. Can smell again the dirtiness that I was smelling before, so means that there is a lot of fine still in the cup. Let's taste it. Okay, let's recap what we did. We changed the grind size, we went coarser. We put more coffee inside and we increased the brewing time. So we went from 1 minute to 4 minutes. We want to extract more. We saw the first brew was too weak and under extract, and now let's see if we correct this. Okay, tastes very dusty. There's a lot of fines inside. Even if I went coarser, tastes horrible. So let's filter like we did before. Now let's wait until everything drains, then let's see the amount of fines that we get on the paper filter. Color-wise, it looks darker than the previous one, so something positive. Let's see the taste. Okay, aroma got better. Removing the fines, it got better. Okay, taste-wise, it tastes a bit better, but still under extract is very watery. There is no body. The finish is kind of like dry drops. There is no so much intensity still. And now we're gonna check with the refractometer the intensity. For this cup, I was expecting a higher strength because we increased the amount of coffee, but actually the higher amount of coffee inside the brewer didn't really make a big change, even because now on the refractometer I have 0.62. Before I had 0.65, now I have 0.62. I think water is not able to really go well inside the brewer. While it was brewing, I see all this bubble coming out, air bubble coming out from the brewer. That means, you know, like water coming in, there was a degassing of coffee, but it was very long. It was very long, so probably the coffee saturated very slow. There is a slow extraction inside the brewer. If it was larger a container, probably we would have like more extraction because the water and the coffee was we're able to stay a bit together. The fact that the coffee is confined in this little area doesn't create turbulence. Turbulence is very important. Turbulence is when we agitate the coffee with the water, increase the migration of coffee compounds in the water. There is no way for the water to act as a strong solvent. Okay, so we went coarser, but it didn't change much on the quantity of fines. That's not positive. This is negative for me. Taste-wise, the second brew is not good enough. It's not a positive. It's not a positive coffee. It's not a positive brewer. Okay, this is definitely not an happy ending review. I don't think the brewer is good enough. If you like easy method for brewing coffee, I think you should stick with French press. I think French press is more effective, to be honest. Okay, the conclusion is that I'm not pleased with the product. I think the idea is nice, but I think they need to improve a bit better the old brewer. Coffee taste, it's very hard to achieve a good cup of coffee. I had to filter the brew on a paper filter, and that shouldn't be required, because when we say easy to use, using without paper filter, so it needs to be easier for people to use it, even like when you go to travel. If you think about, it's light, it's small, you can carry in your backpack, but you cannot achieve a good coffee. To be honest, I prefer to bring with me a French press at this point. I think French press is still better brewing method. If you think about the similar family of immersion and mechanical filtration, so metal and mesh filter. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have FinalPress? Are you watching this video because you are curious about the brewer? Are you going to buy it? You already ordered it? Let me know what you think. I share my thoughts about this, and I will be very happy to hear from you. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. Sorry if I didn't deliver something positive today. Sorry, FinalPress, if my judgment is a bit negative, but you know, there is always room for improving. So that's all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in my next videos, and in the meantime, I wish you a wonderful day and delicious coffee. Ciao!